What's up guys, Romsco here, back with another video, and now that it's 2018, that means we can recap all the great tech that came out in 2017. Now in this past year, we've seen a lot of bleeding edge technology, and we've been amazed through and through, and today I want to be going over my top 5 favorites of the tech of 2017. And in no particular order, number 1 is going to be the Logitech PowerPlay. The Logitech PowerPlay is Logitech's new take on the gaming and wireless industry. While they've been a part of it for a very long time with their G903 wireless gaming mouse, and now they're taking it to the next step by wirelessly charging wireless mice. This technology has probably been a dream for wireless mice users for a very long time. For the longest time, we've been using replaceable batteries, and even when we did have wireless mice without replaceable batteries, we still had to plug them in to charge them into the computer. But with this, we don't have to plug it in directly into the computer, but we can just leave it on a mouse pad and it'll charge itself while you're using it. The way the PowerPlay works is pretty simple. You have your regular mouse pad, you have a dock underneath your mouse pad that works as a charger and receiver for your wireless mice, and you have a small little module that sticks onto the bottom of your Logitech mice in order for it to get charged while being on top of the dock. The dock or base of the mousepad creates this electromagnetic resonance, which creates an energy field which transfers all the energy from there onto the mouse that has the module. And because the dock and base also has a receiver connected to it, there's virtually zero lag between this receiver and the computer to the mouse's movements. Oh yeah, the logo is RGB too, so that's a cool plus. Now, while this wireless charging technology is pretty revolutionary for wireless mice right now, especially in the gaming industry, right now it's only limited to 2 mice, which are Logitech's G703 and G903, which are pretty much the upgrades of their previous versions, the G700 and the G900. And thankfully, we can choose our mousepad surface because they also include a soft one, a soft surface, and a hard surface for you to choose. So I think it's pretty clear why this tech is so revolutionary right now and one of the top of 2017. Before wireless mice, we either had replaceable batteries, or like right now, we need to use a USB to connect to the mouse in order for it to charge when it's out of batteries. But with this technology, it means we can keep using our wirelessness and have the capabilities of wirelessness without having to charge it with the cable, because that's what it is right now. Like for example, the Razer Mamba, when you run out of batteries, you end up having to plug in the mouse again, and it ends up being pretty much the tournament edition, which is the one with the cable. But with this technology, we can keep having our wireless technology, wireless capabilities, without having the restraints of a cord, which is what we've been waiting for the longest time, and it's finally here. Although it's only limited to Logitech at this point, I'm sure the technology will keep improving, and we'll have lots of wireless mice that don't need cables to be charged, and we can just put it on a mouse pad and it'll charge itself while we're using it, and pretty much it'll be forever wireless as long as our mouse pad is connected to the computer. So the number 2 on my list connects to the PowerPlay, and it's the G903 Logitech gaming wireless mouse. Now, the G900 came out in 2016, and the G903 is the refresh of it because of the new PowerPlay compatibility and module. So first of all, the G903 was already a great mouse to begin with. It had responsive tactile buttons, a lot of buttons actually, an ambidextrous design for your lefties and your righties, RGB lighting for its logo, and the wireless latency was one of the biggest features of this mouse. The wireless latency was so low, with virtually zero lag, that it could compete with most of the corded mice in the gaming industry. The only reason why professional gamers do not use wireless mice in the past was because of the latency in wireless mice. Because of that latency, that drops their performance, their response times, and which is why Logitech came to the rescue and decided to create the best wireless mice in the industry. And thanks to the refresh with the PowerPlay compatibility, you can also charge it wirelessly and not have to worry about cables as long as it's on top of the PowerPlay mousepad, which is amazing. A wireless mouse being charged wirelessly through a mousepad. It could not get any better. Going to number 3 on the list, moving away from the computer peripherals, or sort of not really, is the Razer Phone. Now, the Razer Phone wasn't really a surprise to most of us, because when Razer bought Nextbit, the company that made the Nextbit Robin, which was pretty much a failure of a smartphone, we knew something was coming from them. And also they bought out THX, which was the sound company, and of course that was going to be something big as well. And that resulted in the Razer Phone. So the Razer Phone was a smartphone designed specifically for gamers. So that meant that the games would run at its optimum performance on this phone. But it also had a lot of great specs as a regular phone as well. It had 8 gigs of RAM, which is great for multitasking, a Snapdragon 835, Adreno 540, and we had 64 gigs of space, and we had a 4000 milliamp hour battery, which was pretty big at the time, and it still is pretty big right now. On the back, it has dual 12 megapixel cameras, and on the front there's an 8 megapixel camera for their selfies. Although the Razer Phone didn't come out intensely spec'd out as we expected, but it did come out on top in 3 different categories. Number 1 is its dual front-facing speakers with THX, which gave tons of volume, and everyone is praising it for one of the best speakers on the market right now. If you guys ever had the HTC One with its boom sound, it's essentially the same thing, but enhanced even more with levels and levels of volume. It's absolutely amazing. Number 2 is its 4000 milliamp hour battery, which outcompetes all the bigger companies and their smartphones of the year, such as Samsung and Apple, of course. That means more hours of screen on time, more hours of gameplay, more hours of music, more hours of video, and no one can complain about that. I mean, we've always been wanting a lot of battery, but these phones keep getting smaller and smaller. But Razer went for the more conventional side and decided to have a little thicker phone but have a bigger battery, which we can all appreciate. And last but not least, number 3, its final and best feature in the entire smartphone market is its 120Hz refresh rate display. So we've seen 100Hz displays and 120Hz, 144Hz on monitors, gaming monitors, but never in a smartphone. But now that it's on a smartphone, we can appreciate why having a highly refreshed screen would be a great thing to have on a smartphone. Everyone who's reviewed the Razer Phone has appreciated the smoothness of the screen and its capabilities. With the 8 gigs of RAM for multitasking, that makes a perfect combination for smoothness and multitasking. So while the entire phone might not have been the ultimate smartphone that we were expecting, it did introduce a new level of refresh rate displays with the 120Hz display, which is amazing, and I hope to see many of those in the future because it's a great technology and you definitely see the difference between 120Hz and something as a regular OLED or IPS display. And number 4, moving on to TVs, I'm probably sure you've seen this one coming, is the LG OLED wallpaper TV, or the official name, the LG Signature OLED TV W. W probably stands for wallpaper. I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you why this is an amazing piece of tech of 2017. It's the thinnest TV on the market right now with its OLED display with great brightness, great contrast ratios, and it's thinner than an iPhone. We know how thin smartphones are getting, and an iPhone was one of the thinnest smartphones yet, and yet something is thinner than it, and it's a TV. I'm actually pretty shocked at the fact our technology has come so far that our TVs are getting way bigger and way thinner and thinner than a smartphone. I would probably never have imagined it, and it's absolutely stunning. I mean, it literally looks like a regular picture frame on your wall until you turn it on. I mean, it's so clear and so big you could probably mistake it for a window if you saw it for the first time if it was portraying a scene on the outside. You literally think it was a scene from the outside. I've been really impressed by all the pictures and all the review videos that I've seen, and I don't think anyone is not impressed by this. It's got a huge screen, high resolution 4K UHD, it's smartphone thin, and it's got super tiny bezels, which means all you see is screen and no black bezels or silver bezels or whatever bezels there are. There are no bezels pretty much, and that is great for viewing movies, viewing videos, viewing anything. It's great. Even putting pictures on the TV would be amazing. I really can't wait to get one of those in the future because right now it's $8,000 USD and it's gonna be a long time before I get it, but I'm pretty sure every one of us wants one of them because it's awesome. So last but not least, number 5 is the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. Now, while their specs were pretty much on par with the same level with all the other companies, their one big thing is still their display. They started the new 18:9 aspect ratio trend, even though they decided to go for an 18.5:9 aspect ratio, which is pretty odd and still one of the reasons why I'm still contemplating whether to get the S8 Plus or not. And of course, the reason why this is one of the top techs is because Samsung decided to truly minimize the hell out of the chin and the forehead of the phone so that we had more screen display. With the enhanced elongated screen, that means our multitasking is enhanced, makes it a lot better for split screen functions and application sharing, and it just made it a lot more cleaner in the design portion. The three worst things that happened with the S8 and the S8 Plus was the battery life, the camera, and the fingerprint reader. The battery we can understand. The Note 7 kind of screwed up when their contacts were bent and made damage to the battery, and thus Samsung is being more careful about the batteries and also reducing the battery sizes. The camera is the exact same thing on the S7 Edge, and I'm pretty sure they could have increased some kind of quality on it, but I'm not really sure. And last but not least, that fingerprint reader. Nobody can reach that fingerprint reader, and I don't know why the designers of Samsung decided to put it right beside the camera. And I mean, seriously, like, the simplest option is to put it right underneath it or just keep it on the front somehow. But hopefully in the next few releases they learn from their mistakes and either put it on the front for some reason, bring it back the button or something, or put it back down underneath the camera lens instead. So those are my top 5 techs of 2017. They were pretty broad and there were a whole bunch of tech that came out, but those were my personal top 5 favorites. All of them are the phones and tech that I want someday in the future. All of them have their flaws, all of them have their weaknesses, but at the end of the day, their new technology released just a year ago or less than a year ago, and things will improve along the way. Honorable mentions goes to the OnePlus 5T, which continues to be one of the more affordable options for a high-end spec smartphone, and also that face unlock feature, absolutely amazing, 10 out of 10, one of the fastest in the market. And last but not least, for the honorable mentions, we have our iPhone X or iPhone 10, whatever you like to call it. That phone is pretty much a new design for Apple with the vertical camera and the edge-to-edge display with the little notch at the top. Kind of odd, but some people like it, so who knows. And that camera is one of my favorite features of all time. 120 frames per second on 1080p for video. That's absolutely bonkers, and that's probably the only reason why I would get the iPhone X, just because of that camera and that 120 frames per second recording. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys like this list. Leave a comment down below of your favorite tech of 2017 if you want to. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content in this new year of 2018, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.